I want to tell you a story about my mom's friend named Carla. She's a mother of three living in the heart of Chicago. Every morning she wakes up at 5 a.m. to catch two buses to her diner job across the town. After a long day on her feet, she picks up her kids from after-school care, walks them to her tiny apartment, and tries to figure out what to give them for dinner. But tonight, like most nights, her options are very limited. The closest grocery store is 4 miles away, and with no car and no time to take the bus after work, Carla has to stop at the corner store. Dinner is instant noodles and chips again. Fresh produce, that's a luxury her family cannot access. This is a reality for Carla and millions of other Americans all over. It's not about food, it's about health, education, and opportunity. Living in a food desert means living without the basic building life for a healthy, thriving life. But let me tell you a different story. Across town, there's a community garden where another mother, Angela, spends her Saturday morning with her kids. They grow tomatoes, they grow lettuce, and herbs. They're learning about nutrition, building relationships with their neighbors, and putting fresh, homegrown food on the table. Today, we're here to talk about how we can transform Carla's life into Angela's. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Dong, and I'm currently a junior at Branham High School. So my project is called Harvesting Hope, and it's in order to address the food insecurity problem within our communities. We're going to explore the root cause of food deserts, the immense potential for community gardens, and also educational videos, and how each of us can play a role in planting the seeds of change. So what is food deserts and food insecurity? Well, basically, food insecurity is the inability to access enough affordable yet nutritious food for a healthy lifestyle. And food deserts are areas where fresh food is often very scarce or non-existent, often replaced by fast food or other processed foods. So what are the causes of food deserts? Well, the main cause is poverty, which limits access to affordable yet very healthy food, and also a lot of economic or social barriers, as well as systemic historical barriers. And there's a lot of consequences due to these causes. It leads to a lot of poor nutrition, such as the increased risk of chronic diseases like obesity and diabetes, as well as it creates a very negative impact on both education and economic opportunity. How many people does food deserts impact? Well, as shown on the screen, it affects over 34 million people all over the United States. Approximately 9 million of those are children. And also 23.5 million people that are affected by food deserts. They live in areas over a mile away in urban areas, or 10 or more miles away from grocery stores in rural areas. And over 11 million of these people have lower incomes. So in these areas, what are there instead of grocery stores? Well, for a lot of them, fast food chains are more prominent in these areas. Also, there are a lot of corner stores that sell chips, candy, or soda, which are all very processed and all very unhealthy. And many residents in these rural areas can live over 20 to 50 miles away from the nearest full-service grocery store. That is very impactful because due to the limited access, they are forced to eat very processed and very unhealthy foods. So what is the health impact? Well, they have very limited access to fresh produce, and because of that, they're more likely to consume unhealthy yet very processed foods. And this contributes to higher rates of obesity, higher rates of diabetes, and other diet-related diseases. So what is the economic impact of food deserts? Well, areas with higher access to grocery stores and higher income levels lead healthier diets and lower rates of obesity, meaning they have a lot less hospital. But the people who are in poverty, they continue to stay in poverty due to paying high hospital bills for diet-related diseases. Impacts of food deserts and food insecurity. Well, for example, families have to rely on processed and unhealthy foods to get by, meaning there are a lot of higher rates of diet-related diseases. Also, kids are more likely to struggle in school, lack of access to other nutritious and healthy food. Their brain development gets altered, and they also have less energy levels, as well as a lesser concentration level, causing their time in school to be a lot worse. Also, more money is spent traveling to afford healthy food. So due to the lack of access, people have to travel miles and miles to local grocery stores for healthy foods, meaning they have to spend a lot of unnecessary amounts of hard-earned and needed money. There's also a very big gap between the problem and the solution, and the problems are the economic disinvestment, the urban planning failures, as well as the knowledge gaps. Because of For example, for economic disinvestment, a lot of large grocery stores tend to avoid lower income neighborhoods because of the lower profit margins. And for urban planning, there's a lot of neglect in many marginalized neighborhoods, which leaves them without the infrastructure to support big grocery stores. And there's also a lot of knowledge gaps. For example, like there's not enough awareness about the benefits of healthy food, and many families lack the education to grow their own food or advocate for better changes in their community. So, community gardens and educational videos to spread information on nutrition are very big solutions for this problem. For example, for community gardens, neighborhoods can be filled with gardens to help families produce their own produce, meaning they have a better access to affordable yet very nutritious goods. Another positive impact, it can also bring a lot of communities together for the shared purpose of making food. And also the educational videos that spread information on nutrition. It's very important because kids and families can also learn about the significance and the benefits of eating healthy. And also, besides those impacts, community gardens also have a lot more benefits, such as community and social benefits, as well as providing environmental education. For example, it can create a stronger community by bringing neighbors together all to work on the shared goal, and it can also provide a positive impact through encouraging collaboration and education. It can promote sustainability within communities through composting and eco-friendly gardening. So these are my interviews that I conducted for my project Harvesting Hope, and I talked to a lot of my friends, also some of my teachers, about food insecurity and food deserts and what we can do to address them.
It's really sad. And what makes it more sad is the fact that it's so prevalent in today's society. And I think whatever we can do as a whole, as a team, as a community, to help food insecurity in these marginalized groups is really important.
I feel like having a community garden is very good for any community, like mine and other people's, because it brings people together and also like provides food for people who don't have it.
Gardens, if done with good leadership, with good logistics, can be very successful because food insecurity, in my opinion, is very prevalent these days. So whatever we can do as a community to provide for these marginalized communities, what we can do as a whole is really, really important, and I think if done well, can be very successful.
For me, I like the idea having a community garden in our neighborhood to address food insecurity. One thing is it's a good way to bring people together. Then since having a community garden can help to provide fresh produce for everyone, and people have more access to fresh food. And
Yeah, in my garden, I grow like a lot of potatoes and carrots and onions, like mostly vegetables. But fruits and vegetables are very important to be like grown in a garden, but we should focus on like potatoes a lot because potatoes are a very versatile food.
Yeah, I mean, first things that come to mind is the necessities. For example, growing in my garden, we have like carrots. We also grow potatoes, and tomatoes. So I think stuff like that, things that are very easy to grow, but also very plentiful.
how I can participate in the upkeep. I can help to grow them, water them, and also I can spread the information so more people can participate in.
I feel like it would be very beneficial to have like many advertisements and flyers or just get the word out there because if you have a garden and nobody knows about it, then there's no point in it. And like the videos too, like just get it out there on the internet, like post it everywhere so that people know about it to raise awareness so that everybody knows that they have resources in their community.
I don't think so. I think affordable food is a right and should be given to everyone. Systematic inequality in our society has also negatively impacted these marginalized communities. And because of that, there's less affordable food, less affordable even healthcare.
The main idea out of these videos is that fresh, healthy food is a right and it's not a privilege. It's very important to have affordable yet very healthy foods for everyone that is very accessible. and that healthy food should be available for everyone, because status should not be a factor when staying healthy. Everyone should be able to stay healthy, and no one should be limited to being unhealthy due to not having the right amount of funds. So this is my action plan. For starters, we're first gonna identify locations we can build these community gardens. For example, we can choose schoolyards, vacant land, and rooftops in food desert areas. And because like the community gardens, they tend to cost a lot, ranging from like $3,000 to $7,000 to establish. One of our main goals is probably to partner with like nonprofits for funding, partner with local businesses, as well as get government programs in order to fund these gardens. And also we can recruit volunteers. They can both help with the garden, like maintaining, buying supplies, as well as help making the educational videos to spread awareness about nutritious eating. And for our last one, we can create support networks for families. We can partner with like Feeding America to provide resources and other necessities for these families. So how can you help? So for starters, you can help volunteer, you can join a local garden, or even start your own. You can also volunteer at local food banks, such as Feeding America or Martha's Kitchen. Help donate by supporting organizations like American Community Gardening Association, as well as help advocate by spreading awareness on the issue of food insecurity and food deserts, and push for more policy changes by our local government. Thank you guys so much for listening to my West Valley TED Talk, Harvesting Hope, to address food insecurity. Our main goal is to change people's stories like Carla's to more like Angela's with our community gardens that can provide accessible yet very affordable, very nutritious, very healthy food for everyone. Because healthy food should be a right, not a privilege. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys can start your own gardens, community gardens for your neighborhoods or communities.